All right, with that, I would like to call this meeting to order of the Town Board of Town of Northeast. It is Friday, March 20th, 7 o'clock. And I'd like to invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tilly, could you conduct a roll call, please?
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
Here.
Councilman Mayville,
Here.
Councilman Morrison, here, Councilwoman Winkler,
Here.
Councilwoman Cole.
Here.
Okay, everybody is here. I have distributed and posted an agenda for the meeting. I've got 3 additions to the agenda. First is a bond resolution that pertains to the bans that we have outstanding on the highway garage, which I will describe later. The second is a resolution concerning the MOU we have with the village regarding the town's old highway garage. And the third is some appointments to the Conservation Advisory Committee and reappointments. With that, I would like to ask for a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. I'll try and keep my comments short because it could be a long night. First of all, spring is, if not here today, it's here tomorrow, but it's basically here. We had a little bit of it last week for a couple of days and then it went away. We're hoping it's going to come back. Anyway, we may have, hopefully not too long of a meeting tonight. I am sorry for ruining everybody's Friday night, but maybe you will see it as one of the best Friday nights you've ever had. We have a big agenda. We've got some big topics. We're going to be talking about wastewater. We're going to be talking about zoning changes, and we're going to be talking about long-term financing for the town. These are all big ticket items. Sometimes it is mind-boggling when I think about the kinds of challenges which this town takes on with what is a very small staff. But the goal is to make the community a better place to live, to work, to play, to visit. And that goal is what keeps us going. And while we have a small staff, we have a lot of people that work with us. And we have a lot of committees, we have a lot of volunteers, we have a lot of friends who are helping. And when everybody puts their shoulder to the wheel, it's amazing what can get done. A couple of other announcements. Climate Smart Task Force Bulk Trash Day is coming up on Saturday, April 18th. There's already a poster for it down at the intersection 22. And it will be at its usual place and with probably the usual people helping, but it's a great volunteer effort and appreciate everybody who comes out. We're going to try and give it as much publicity as we can. We have, there are a lot of EMS issues and I'm not going to dive into them in huge detail, but I've had a meeting with the county executive, another meeting with Bill Beal, who's Commissioner of Emergency Services for the county. I went to a meeting last night in Milan, organized by Chris Drago, with a bunch of towns basically from Northern Dutchess, but Red Hook and Clinton, with Pine Plains, Milan, Northeast, of course. Somebody representing Amenia, and we met with the senior officials of Northwell Health. Northwell Health is, I think many of you know, is now New Vance, or has taken over New Vance, and which includes, very importantly for us, Sharon Hospital. And I think they are going to be able to be a big help on our EMS issues. They have a lot of resources. They have so many resources. They actually have 2 helicopters and a fixed wing airplane. They serve a lot of New York City, Westchester. They are big operators, and they are interested in hearing about our smaller rural communities and how they can work with us. And I'm excited about that. And I will report back to you. I was able to actually also include Millerton Fire Department Chief Keith Roger and Assistant Chief Bob Jenks to join that as well. And it was a good meeting. Less progress on speed reductions on Route 22. The town board approved this request in November of last year and sent it to the state. And I have reached out to both Senator Hinchey and Assembly Member Dee Barrett about it. They report they are still working on it, but it is now March, and it just is amazing how long these things take. Sometimes they come back very quickly. This one is not one of those. And I won't get into Association of Towns, what they're pushing in Albany, but there's a lot going on in Albany right now. Both single house bills have been introduced in terms of the budget. There are potential impacts for the town, some increase in CHIPS funding, and so on, but we won't get into that tonight. With that, I would like to ask if there is any, I'd just like to describe the agenda. We're going to get into, first, we're going to hear about the wastewater project, and I'm very appreciative that Aaron Moore is here from Ty and Bond. And then we're going to get back, then we're going to go into the zoning issues. Their public comment will be open for that in the beginning of the zoning discussion. So I just wanted everybody to know that. But at this point, is there any public comment on agenda items only? Okay. Bob Stevens has asked to be excused from tonight's meeting. He's not able to be here. Our town assessor is not here. However, the good news is our clerk is here, our tax collector is here,
Yes.
all in the same person.
Yes, so I want to say that we're at 86% collected with the taxes, which is exactly comparable to last year at this time. I've been tracking requests from taxpayers to pay online, and since the last board meeting, February 12th, we've had 19 residents request that we have that option. So I'm just going to collect those numbers and we'll look into that. That'll be a decision of the board. The department reports were sent to everybody, but I want to add that we've received another complaint about shooting continuing at the gun club on a Sunday and also after 6 p.m. on weekdays from Mr. Dave Decker. That was March 9th at 6:37 p.m. and he wants it on the record.
Okay. We then go to the board committee reports. Communications committee.
Yeah, want to talk?
Sure.
Sure, I can talk. Meg and I met with Tilly this week. We are updating the website. We're going through it page by page. And we intend to meet weekly if we can, just to keep this going and get that up to date and more user friendly. And before we move on to our next phase of communications. So just wanted to update you on that.
Okay, thank you. Building and Grounds Committee, there's probably a lot to talk about. We are continuing to do work. It's probably not perceptible to most people, but on the new town hall. And one of the things that I have been doing is visiting other town halls in the county to see the ways in which they are structured and how different offices present to the public and so on. I had the opportunity to go down and visit the town halls of Wappinger and of Pleasant Valley earlier this week. They're bigger than us, so we understand that. They're going to have lots of things that we don't have. As you probably all know, Pleasant Valleys is essentially brand new, but it is also a town hall that they bought an existing building and changed it to make it into a town hall. So there are some interesting lessons. I met with supervisors of both of those, and there will be a much bigger report, hopefully at our April meeting on that. And housing,
The only thing is the +1 ADU, the applications for the grants end at the end of this month. It was extended instead of in February. So we do have, I believe, 4 or 5 applicants from the town of Northeast at this point. So they also changed their scoring system to be more friendly to rural areas. So that was something we had input on.
good,
Yeah.
they should be friendly to more rural areas.
Yeah. Access to public transport is not high.
Mhm. Yeah,
People getting credit for it here.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so that's positive.
all right. Thank you.
I'd like to
Rochelle?
make a comment. I'm interested in the idea of forming a grants committee. I have 2 grants that are in the hopper. And I feel like it's something I can't do individually, but I'm interested in thoughts on if we can or should form a grants committee to vet these opportunities.
There are 5 of us sitting around the
Yeah.
table.
So there's the New York Forward
Mhm.
grant. I know it's due in November. There's a lot of work that has to go into,
I raised that last year,
right,
basically, especially with the village,
right.
because this was very much involved the village. And
Yes.
our conclusion was it was a little bit too late at that time to really do it well. I think it's a really interesting opportunity, and with enough planning and work, I think we would be a great candidate for that.
So should we work on gathering forces for this year's
And
application?
what was the second one?
And the second one just came out. And that is so Dutchess County issued a municipal investment grant. And it covers infrastructure, safety and security is one arm of it. And the other is municipal homeless initiatives, which it looks like they would cover warming centers, possibly cooling centers, and the expenses related to that. So,
Yeah, why-
I'm all for our committee because I think we benefit from Michelle's expertise in grant writing. And we had looked into hiring a grant company. Pine Plains just hired one, but I'm totally supportive of.
Yeah, I think it would be good for the whole board to be thinking and talking about this. So I'm open to having it be a committee of the board. I think it's important that we know what grants we're starting to go after
sure.
and have that be a conscious thing. And I want to make sure that we're not getting ourselves out in front of our skis in terms of the ability of staff
Sure.
to keep track of these.
I think it's important that we know what's out there and we vet them properly. Especially, with federal dollars drying up. So
Yeah,
that's just my thought.
well, I welcome you to bring more information back to, or get in, and just send it to us about those so that we could have a discussion on April 9th. I think that'd be great.
Sure.
What would you envision the committee to do? Like, I'm interested, I just want to know what I'm.
Well, dig into what the application is, what the the guidelines are, what's eligible. We may pass on some, but I think we should vet what comes our way.
Aggressive. So after, yeah.
We're not. As long as we're interested in
Yeah.
building out whatever, the
Mhm.
money, the purpose of the grant. It also would come with work, of course.
Yeah.
So,
Let's plan to have a longer discussion of this on April
sure.
9th. But I'm,
Good.
I don't want to let anything go by out there that we should be
Right,
benefiting from. I also want to make sure that we don't get ourselves bogged down with more things that we can handle.
absolutely.
Just want to note that we filed our AFR with the state on time. Copy of it is available on the town's website and on the New York State Comptroller's website. With that, we are getting to the wastewater project, which is this board has been hearing about for a long time. I've been hearing about for a long time. And the village, of course, is the center of gravity for the wastewater project. But I think that our friends at Ty and Bond Engineering would view themselves as the center of gravity for the wastewater project. Anyway, I'm really pleased that Aaron Moore is able to be with us tonight to bring us up to speed on where the project is and what, especially, the role of the town in this project, because we are the junior partner on this.
This is something that I think both of the communities are driving together very much so. And we are very excited to be part of the team, but when it comes to this project, it is a group effort, for sure.
Mhm.
Hey, Chris, I'm gonna keep going. So
Yeah.
I think this is just, whoever wants to grab one, I'm just gonna put them in this chair.
Yeah.
And if I think I peek over Chris's shoulder, I think it's actually not. So.
Or you can, if you want, you can just stand wherever you
No,
want.
I wanna come back here. So,
Okay.
Okay. So we've been, the town has been working on this diligently as a partner to the village. And I know I haven't been here for a while, and so it may feel like nothing's happening. So much has been happening. It's unfortunate, it's just very slow. So I'm just gonna provide a summary reminding, I know that there's been changes in the board. I don't know who's here and who's been paying attention or not, so I'm just gonna review, like, what is the project? What does it involve? Where we're looking to serve in the town, costs, like the biggest topic, and then in general, where we are and what are the next steps that we're trying to do as we move forward. So if you do have a handout, that was the agenda. And so the service area is the Route 44 commercial area from the Connecticut border to the border with the village. The boulevard is what we call it. I assume that's what everyone calls it. And so if you turn to that page, you'll see the blue highlighting, and that identifies the parcels that are being served. They're all commercial parcels. There's no residential parcels in there. And so these two pages are just sort of a reminder of what is the actual system. So the collection system's a step system. And so what that involves is a septic tank. And so a septic tank that either has been replaced and is brand new, because some of them have been in the ground for a very long time and they're no longer in appropriate condition, or they're not sized appropriately. And the septic tanks have a pump. And the pump removes, not the solids stay in the septic tank. It removes the clear flow and sends it through a small diameter pipeline, so we don't care about trying to flow downhill, to the treatment location. And then very similar to your current septic system, your septic tank, the solids management is going to continue to be with a septic hauler. So a DEC licensed septic hauler will still continue to pump the solids out of the septic tank. Very aggressively used tank, maybe a very large family every 3 years. A single person in their home every 7 years, but we're gonna be able to judge how often that tank gets pumped. As things that are very prominent in my news might not be as prominent in your news. Recall the stuff in the septic tank is biosolids, and biosolids are a big hot topic. And so we recommended this for many different reasons, but a new reason is the regulation of biosolids is really tricky. Having a DC licensed septic hauler now, addressing those versus the village and the town doing that themselves, that's a win for us because there is a little bit more scrutiny on biosolids right now and how they get handled and disposed because of emerging contaminants like PFAS. So if anyone's been watching that, that's what that's about. And if you haven't, don't worry about it. But this collection system we think is really an advantage to the system. And then the wastewater treatment system itself is going to be up on Mill Street. We're just up the hill from where your former highway garage was, if you can picture that corner, where it goes around the corner on the rail trail, there's a hill. It's going to be pretty isolated from anyone, and it's actually, if you look at the images of what the treatment system will look like, it's actually a low visual impact system as well. It will mostly be subsurface, and there'll be a little shed of some sort that will be where the controls are housed. So it's a biofiltration system, so you've got filtration and you've also got biology growing on these man-made sort of geotextile sheets. So we get both a biological treatment and filtration, UV disinfection, and then disposal. So, but low visual, but also you really have to try to see it because it's up on the hill and
I don't think you'll be able to see it from South.
yeah, I don't know where we're gonna see it from, but maybe one day we'll all go take a field trip when it's built and have a ribbon cutting. And it will involve a hike through the woods though, so we'll have an access road at that point. So that's the general treatment system, the two components, collection and treatment. So the cost. The overall cost for the system is $13.8 million, including engineering, legal, and contingency. The town's portion of that, which is based on sort of two different things. One is the flow proportionate of that's been reserved for the town versus the village. And then the pieces of the system that are upsized to accommodate the town, that is their portion, which is just shy of $3 million, $2.955 million. And the annual operation and maintenance cost is $144,000. Shy, you good? We'll just keep rolling and then answer
Yeah,
questions?
I just-
Okay,
I want to come back to that.
yeah, absolutely. So how are we paying for this? There's been, so this is the piece. If it feels like there has been no progress, this is the progress piece that has been happening so much over the last year. Let's start out with the MIG grant. The MIG grant was what was the first money in the bucket. And sometimes it's that first piece that then allows the other agencies to come in. So you were interested in the MIG grant.
Yeah.
The MIG grant was shared between the village and the town of Northeast, $200,000, and that funded preliminary engineering. So preliminary engineering was the survey, house to house. Ty and Bonder, not me, was in every basement, or if there's no basement, like looking at the wastewater, how wastewater currently leaves, where's the septic tank. And then we did borings all throughout where the collection system was. So those pieces are preliminary engineering, complete survey of the whole area, but the MIG grant helped fund that. So definitely in that case, it got used for infrastructure purpose. But from my perspective, one of the easiest from the administration standpoint to Hanford, the county was really easy to work with, because we wanted to set this up also that any funding agency would be okay with their terms, and the county was like, okay, we can be flexible and work with you. So from my perspective of this list we'll go through, MIG grant, go for that. They were very kind and easy to work with. And then once the county, that initial money came in, the other money started to come. So the first was from Congressman Ryan. That was community funding I forget what the
Yeah.
CFD stands for. They keep changing it every year, but that was just shy of $1 million. So 959,752 came from the congressman. And then the project was awarded a intermunicipal grant through the Environmental Facilities Corp of 5.1 million, let's call it for ease. And then most recently, community directed spending through Senator Gillibrand of $3.5 million. So all of that has been happening. It is fabulous. It is really an amazing amount that has come to make this project affordable and reasonable for the boulevard. And we're not done. We've got 2 others we're going to keep applying for, which is the New York State DEC Water Quality Improvement Program grant. That's not going to, last time they told us no, it's super competitive. They only have so much money, but we're just going to keep resubmitting it and maybe we'll get lucky this year. That application isn't open yet, but we'll keep going. And then the other is USDA Rural Development, who has this project on their, sort of on their docket. So we're just trying to get through. They're usually a low contributor, maybe 10%, but every bit of money is lowering the value in the rates. So we're just going to keep going to these funding sources and continue to try to get funding for the project. So that doesn't stop even though the project progresses.
I just want to jump in on one thing, those grants that came from Congressman Ryan and Senator Gillibrand, they came from the federal government. They were recommended, obviously, by the senator and by the
Yes.
congressman. But we should make it very clear that we know that this is, the congressional appropriation, not particularly from them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If that wasn't clear, sorry.
Yeah.
They did not just come up. It is congressional appropriation. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Sorry about that. And it's from the federal government. So it's been really fun to figure out how to get through the application process. And so that has been a lengthy process. For instance, probably coming in front of the town board. Usually if there's a project, you go through the seeker process. And in this case, they said, no, this is a federal project, so you need to go through the federal version of that. So that there's been a lot of work going on in the last year to secure this funding and be qualified for this funding. But we're there. We're at the finish line of that, so that's very exciting. When we talk about then, what does this translate to the cost for the users that are in the service area? So again, $2.9 million is the cost. With the different funding allocation, that drops it to about 1.2 million. And then, so here's the bad news piece of this. When originally we started this project, the town's median household income was what they considered below the hardship level. So the town qualified for 0% interest financing. And since then, now the funding agencies are looking at the 2023 American Community Survey numbers, and now the town of Northeast is above that hardship line. And so we're looking at 4% interest. So it still is a, what's the word I'm looking for? Subsidized interest. It's not full market rate, but we feel that 4% is a conservative number. So that's what we're presenting here. But the town is not at the hardship level of 0% anymore as of the 2023 median household income survey. So 4% interest over 30 years is $52,777 a year. There are 67 benefit units, and so we'll flip to that, but a benefit unit relates the use of the parcel to what the parcel needs to contribute towards the system, and that equals $787.72 per benefit unit as an annual cost. And so if you go to the next page, you can take a look. I'm sorry, it's a little small, but the schedule, so what's a good example of this schedule? A fitness studio, a gym, 1 benefit unit plus 1 per 1,000 square foot of building plus 1 per 2 shower stalls, because showers are a big demand on the wastewater system. So maybe what's another good example? An office, 1 per business plus 1 per 1,000 square foot of office space. So you can look at this table. We've tried to do a really good job of covering every business that is in both the village and the town. They both have a shared table. The table's the same, no matter where you are. And we tried to do a really good job of covering all the different uses that could be going on. And you know what? Someone will come and do something different that we don't have on this table, and then the town will amend, be covered by sewer use regulation. And if we think of a use that's not on here, we'll figure out how to assign it benefit units and make that schedule a living document. But we tried really hard to cover all the bases that are normal uses within the community. So then operation and maintenance. So I had said that number before, $144,000 a year is what we've estimated for that. So we've got the town's portion of that. So what that comes out to is $788 per benefit per 225 gallons per day increment, because for usage, you're going to be charged based on your usage. Very similar to the water. So there's a capital cost and a demand cost. So the water usage is how the demand and operation and maintenance will be charged. So for instance, so the next page has an example, a small commercial unit of two benefit units. So the capital cost is $1,575 per year. The O&M cost is $788. And that ends up as a total annual cost of $2,663, or a monthly cost of just under $200. So the next is all the parcels, and I'm sorry, I just put it on one sheet. I probably could have been 2 sheets. So get out your magnifying glass, but if you can see there's a range in the town from 1 benefit unit to maybe 7 is the largest user. So big range there. And I'm happy to talk about that if anyone wants to talk about a particular parcel.
It may be that there've been some sales. as
Totally.
well.
Yeah, and that's one
So people
thing
should know that.
we keep in mind.
It's not as of today.
Yeah, and at some point, we've stopped writing reports and just have to move on to start designing the system, and you can't constantly update this. But what we're doing is setting the procedure is more important. Like, what's the procedure for figuring out what a parcel has and is assigned to it? And so this is a good example from the last time we looked at this, and it's got to be a living document. And that's why there's, sewer use law that tells us for whatever's happening at this parcel, how the cost is going to be allocated. So we are very, very, very close to part of the funds. I'm saying EPA, but that's that congressionally directed funds. A match was required. The town and the village met that match. So now in the preliminary engineering phase, they actually can be reimbursed through those first funds. Maybe I'll call them the Pat Riley funds. The Ryan funds, actually, sorry, wrong congressperson. Don't let anyone hear that. So we're working on getting through that first reimbursement process. We want to make sure the money is flowing smoothly before anyone incurs any costs, because that can actually be withdrawn ahead of time to account for spending. So there's no dollars coming out of either community. There's a pool of money set aside, so it can just pay for the progress going forward, and no one has to be funding it in the meantime. So that's a great asset of that. That will be done. Go back to that last. Will you get that? Oh, there we go. So the engineering final design contract. So that's where we actually get to do the design of this. That has been signed by the village. The village is currently the contracting authority. So we are asking, and the village is asking, that the town acknowledge that they are responsible for a piece of this. But the village is who is all the money is flowing in and out of. So the town has a percentage they're responsible for. So both the town and the village, really looked at how do we make this very simple? So funding agencies, are paying one entity, but also the town recognizes, yeah, we understand we're responsible for some. So on our contract, we have an acknowledgement. The town acknowledges they have a portion of this they're responsible for, but generally the money's flowing through. So we'd like the town to at least to sign that acknowledgement. Yes, we're a piece of this. We're part of this. We've come to the party. We're here. We are working on closing on the EFC funding. So that was that $5.1 million. They have a list of items. One of those is the sign off from the state comptroller. We've received comments back from that. We need to reply to those comments, but we couldn't reply to the comments until EFC gave us an update on how they were treating the town, which because of the change in the town's status from a hardship community to that subsidized level, we really need their feedback. We got almost the feedback today, but then we got a commitment from their finance group. We'd hear from them early next week. Once we get those numbers back, then Warren is leading that effort of responding to the state comptroller, but that's probably our biggest piece we're waiting for to close on that funding. And then we're just going to obviously continue on those other sources we noted. We haven't started the progress with the Gillibrand funding, but since we've been through the other funding, the Pattern funding, I think we're going to really be efficient at that. Because now if they ask for the federal environmental quality review process, we're like, oh, we're done. We did that already. So we're more in line to be very efficient with that. So as soon as we have that kickoff, we're hoping that can go really smoothly. So again, I think I mentioned engineering design, all the preliminary work is complete, all the house-to-house survey, geotech. The final design number was $612,000, totally covered by all the grant funding. So that's very good to just get going. We're very excited to stop writing reports and talking to funding agencies and just start design work. We're ready to do that. So we're still aiming for, we had hoped to be rolling by January. We're still aiming and think it's very feasible for construction to be complete in spring of 2028. So we're going to be starting final design, but construction complete spring 2028. We still think that's very feasible. So that is the summary of the project. I know I covered a lot. I'm assuming the board may have questions. So any questions you have, I'm really eager to answer.
I'm just concerned about, I think I know the answer to it, but the billing for this, will that be part of their water bill?
Yes.
It'll be another line on that?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I thought it was gonna be, but I wasn't sure.
Yep.
Because people have asked, and I thought it makes sense, it would be part of that.
Yeah, because the capital portion will be just standard based on the use of the property.
Right.
So that'll be really straightforward. And then the operation and maintenance costs are based on the water usage.
Okay.
There's a few parcels that are in the town that aren't on the water system. So they particularly will have meters installed so we can track their wastewater usage.
Okay.
And those will be independent to those parcels, but probably using a very similar meter. So the meter reading system can pick it up very easily.
Thank you.
I think there's just like 2 or 3 at the end, like close to the Connecticut border.
Lana, since you mentioned that, there's one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands, which is that the costs of this system are borne by the users of the system
Right.
out on the boulevard, not by the rest of the town. And that's just, I want to make sure that that is crystal clear.
So we've gotten, out of the 14 million, we've gotten grants up to 9. Right.
It's great.
Yeah, and so then we just going after more grants to try to fill that gap, or are you suggesting other means of financing?
Well, so you are totally financed through what's called the Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
Okay.
So they have offered financing for the entire, whatever is the balance beyond that.
Okay.
We put 4% in, but that is conservative. Because of the subsidized nature, it's probably going to be lower, but we don't want to present a number that's too optimistic. I think 4%, it's right now in the 3.7 area, but we just felt like we shouldn't present low, we'll present 4. But and that's, I think, what finance is waiting to report back, so Warren and his team can finally respond to the state comptroller, like what's a reasonable interest estimate? But, so there is interest in the loan, but you do have this loan. So the entire amount is financed. We just want to keep eating away at the amount you have to finance and get as much grant as possible, so the amount that's financed keeps getting reduced. Thank you.
Couple of other thoughts. One is just, again, going back to the Gillibrand and Ryan money. That money then it flows through federal agencies. And it is the federal agencies that you have to actually work with,
Yeah.
not the congressional offices, but those, and I can't remember which one it was that you worked with on the Ryan money, but.
Yeah, I think they're both gonna be EPA.
Right.
I know, and while they're out of it at that point, when EPA was being very slow, I copied their office, and then all of a sudden they emailed us back. So they're watching it, and but they're not actively. It's not their office who chooses. They got us on the budget. They got the project on the budget, but then it's administered through the EPA.
Right.
And I think we know, like,
That's the whole thing. It's a bureaucracy. So
well, there used to be a lot of earmarks, right? And then earmarks went away. It's been like 10 years they've been away. So now they're back, but now different agencies are distributing them. And I think we're one of the first years that's gone through the EPA in this process. So the EPA is kind of learning how they're doing. And then sometimes the EPA was on furlough during this process. So that helped tremendously. Town of Northeast getting its money when they weren't allowed to come to work. So we'd get an email bounce back of this person is furloughed and cannot respond to your email. So it's also, we've been through that. So we're almost there. We're almost at the light, but it has been an interesting up and down challenge. But last year's been interesting. So. And then very lucky because this was fiscal year 24, 25 completely, they canceled them all. So anyone who had gotten on the docket for 25, they eliminated every single one of that congressionally directed spending, but now it's back.
We were recommended, actually.
And that's how we got back, yeah.
Senator Gillibrand put us in for 3.5
And
and
they-
25,
yeah.
and then they all were eliminated.
So it's great,
Mhm.
really great, because definitely some other communities, were not lucky and they lost their opportunities. So very strong success story here.
Any other members of the board have any?
Thank you, Erin.
No, I'm really happy to be back here, and I just especially make sure everyone knows. It feels like very peaceful, but we've been working really, really hard, and we've just gotten to this tipping point where, we're gonna start now being, getting to really do the design back in, and parcels, really progressing, like the technical part that we're excited to be doing, so.
I think what is, so exciting to me, having, I've known you now for quite a number of years.
Yes.
And having watched how this has worked and how dedicated, I will say, Ty and Bond has been to this project, because there have been times when we didn't know where the money was coming from. We weren't sure. And you all have just kept plugging away. And I know you all specialize in water and wastewater particularly, so you have a lot of experience in your firm. And I think it's great that we're where we are. And I've told people that, now I really feel we can say this is coming. Before I thought, I hope it's coming.
No, it's coming.
Yeah.
And I just quickly have to tell you, so I live in Columbia County, so I just live north. So Ty and Bond is 600 person firm. We were in New England. I've always been in Columbia County though. Our headquarters is Westfield, so I used to drive to Westfield every day. And then in 2016, February of 2016, I opened our office here. And that, we just had its 10-year anniversary. So I have 24 people in our Rhinebeck office, but Chris and Jeannie Vaneco was one of the first clients who came into our office when we opened the doors, like a formal door. We had been practicing in New York since 2014, but in 2016, Chris and Jenny Vaneco were one of the first people who walked, like physically, clients who came into our office. So pretty special time for us, just having, been 10 years and such a growth. And And I just love that we contribute to the community, we're here, enjoying, being part of Dutchess County, so anyway, just very nice time
Yeah,
from being together,
great.
so.
Anyway, thank you, Erin.
No, thank you for
coming
having
out,
me. Absolutely. I'm
and,
gonna stick around for a little bit.
All right, stick around for a little bit. Yeah.
Do you have to do the acknowledgement?
Yes. Thank you. The piece that Erin mentioned was that there's a letter which has been signed by the mayor, which is I'm not sure exactly what it's called.
It's a contract for final design. Is that what
Right,
you're referring to? Yeah.
right.
Technically, the village is a legally obligated entity, but we understand that both the town, try and make this easy. The
Yeah.
town and the village, people are challenging if the money was going to both places and then coming back together. So the village has the town acknowledge, they know they're part of this, but
Yeah.
the village is the one who's actually the contractually obligated entity.
So the document is actually called the Millerton Wastewater Design Amendment Number 3.
Correct.
Just to be really precise about it. And I wanted to wait before acknowledging this for the board to have the opportunity to have this presentation. But I would entertain a motion to approve me signing the acknowledgement letter to the Millerton Wastewater Design Amendment Number 3.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. I will sign the acknowledgement letter. And that takes care of that. The next item is, we're going back to our work on zoning. This is also really deals very much with the boulevard, but this is the work which the board has been doing on the zoning amendments which were proposed by the zoning review committee. And we have we've had a public hearing that has been ongoing. It is still open, and we're going to actually open it again in a minute. My hope is that we will be able to close the public hearing at our April 9th meeting. And it will be my hope that we actually then can vote on the zoning amendments and move on to zoning the rest of the town. Hopefully with fewer meetings. It should be possible to do it with fewer meetings. In any event, we have the public hearing on this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reopen the public hearing, and we will be in the public hearing, and then we will close it for now, continue it to April 9th. But with that, I would like to ask for a motion to reopen the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. With that, the public hearing on the zoning amendments is open, and anybody who would like to speak to them, it's welcome. Deputy Mayor.
My name is Matt Hartzog. I'm the village, or the deputy mayor of the village. The mayor has written a letter on behalf of the entire board that she's asked that we read into tonight's meeting. And this is regarding the strong opposition to proposed zoning amendments from the draft January 24, 2026. Specifically the expansion of uses in the Irondale Business District. Dear Supervisor and members of the town board, on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and as mayor, I write to express our strong and unanimous opposition to the additional proposed zoning amendments contained in the draft zoning amendments of January 24, 2026, to dramatically expanded permitted principal uses in the Irondale Business District. Located directly north of the village of Millerton along the Route 22 corridor, the proposed changes would newly permit, with planning board site plan approval, numerous retail and restaurant uses in the IB district that are currently not allowed. These include, but are not limited to, restaurants, including takeout and brew pubs, retail bakeries, specialty foods, bank, general merchandise, retail, beverage and liquor store, and many others. Allowing these uses would create a pass-by corridor along Route 22, drawing travelers and local traffic to shop and dine without ever entering the business centers of the village and the town boulevard district. This would directly undermine the economic vitality of our downtown businesses and negate the significant public investments the village has already made. Over many years, the village of Millerton has devoted substantial time, taxpayer resources, and planning efforts to infrastructure improvements in the village center, including new sidewalks, water system upgrades, road enhancements. These projects were deliberately designed to strengthen our historic downtown as a walkable, attractive destination for residents and visitors alike. Additionally, the village and town are actively planning for a centralized wastewater system. At present, we rely entirely on on-site septic systems. With our new system, is essential for sustainable growth, and it's specifically designed to serve the town's boulevard district, which lies immediately east of the village along Route 44. Diverting commercial activity and potential development away from the village and town center risks undermining the economic foundation for these infrastructure investments and could complicate further intra-municipal cooperation. Both the town and the village need to sustain these core business centers to maintain and grow the user base, which will help pay for these water and wastewater improvements. We are not alone in these concerns. Members of the town's own zoning review committee have strongly opposed these exact changes to the Irondale Business District. They had pointed out that the additional uses create direct competition with both the village center and the planned boulevard districts. And then it would cause drivers on Route 22 to bypass our community's central business districts entirely and could result in a strip mall environment north of Millerton. The committee has also noted that these amendments are not supported by the adopted town village comprehensive plan, which identifies the village as the center of commerce and emphasizes the preservation of rural character. Despite the committee's clear recommendation to revert to the original permitted uses, including at the March 3 workshop, the changes remain in the current draft. The village and town have long worked together to preserve the unique character and prosperity of our community. These proposed amendments to the Irondale Business District work against that shared goal by creating direct competition with the village center rather than complement it. We therefore respectfully urge the town board to reject these additional proposed amendments to the Irondale Business District and to return to the original draft of appropriate uses for the Irondale Business District. We stand ready to discuss this matter at any upcoming joint meeting, public hearing, or work session so that we may continue to plan collaboratively for the benefit of all residents. Thank you for your careful consideration of the village's position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make sure that every member of the board has a copy of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Are we setting timer for these comments?
You know, we, since that was a document that was being read into the minutes, it wasn't spontaneous, but I would like to observe, and we can find a watch, that we have a time limit of 5 minutes, and it would be helpful if everybody would try to stay under that. Who else would like to address this?
Just to comment on that, where else would you put new business? Every storefront in the village, as far as I know, is occupied. Where else would you put anything else in the village? If you wanted more business to come in, where else would you put it besides in the Irondale district? I think we should encourage more business in the Irondale district.
Okay, as you know, this is public comment for you to talk to us.
I am.
Yep, you are.
We hear you.
Who else would like to speak to this in this public hearing?
Okay,
No, go ahead.
I would like to say that I agree with the mayor and the village board's letter. I do think there are still empty storefronts, just to your question, I do think business is important. I feel there are some businesses that are not occupied in the town. And just to the point of walkability, and also the possible result of creating a kind of strip mall vibe. If we do allow businesses in Irondale, my mind immediately goes to Fresh Town and Amenia. And I think that's kind of hurt Amenia. In a way, it would have been nice if they had a grocery store in Amenia as opposed to on Route 22. I see a lot of people walking on the road on Route 22 to get to Fresh Town. It's created a environment that's kind of built around the highway. If you look at Dover Plains, very similar, you go through 22, it's not the charm that Millerton has where you don't have to fight cars. There's no sidewalks up in Irondale. You wouldn't be able to walk to it. So yeah, when you look past, Amenia and north, it's a beautiful Route 22 and, it's very scenic and there's not, if we added businesses, I feel like there could be, without proper traffic lights, without proper sidewalks, it would just be kind of like it wouldn't be an extension of a town, it would just be, it wouldn't feel like an extension of Millerton. It would feel like, a strip mall, sorry. I wanted to prepare written things, but didn't have time. Anyway, thank you.
Can you give us your name?
Yes, Alex Diaconis. I
Okay.
live here in the village.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Who else would like to speak? Dale?
One of the things that concerned me is we spent a lot of time on the ZRC, and as you had the discussion tonight on wastewater, there was a focus on redeveloping or continuing to build out the boulevard as an extension of the village. Concern I have is that if we're working on doing so, we're spending money on infrastructure to develop the boulevard to be more, we've added mixed use retail. The idea was to grow that out to maintain an extension of the village. If you then change and go that direction up there at the same time, I'm just questioning how it goes congruent with the idea that when we started on the ZRC, that the village and town that was supposed to be an extension of the village, the business district was supposed to be on the boulevard, the main retail and traffic pattern was supposed to be there. And like this came in at the last second, and like we talked extensively on the ZRC about things with the boulevard. The focus was to create zoning that was more friendly. And I think there's still a little work we could do to make the boulevard part more friendly. But I thought that was the focus, was to extend the village and the town seamlessly. And this seems to be like we're working on the park up there. We've got the recreation up there. The retail is going to be here. And now it's like, I'm just a little, it doesn't make sense to me because as she mentioned with Fresh Town, as she mentioned with Dover especially, the center of Dover used to be very vibrant all the way up to the race, or all the way up to the train tracks. There was a whole lot of business there. They built that mall area down south of town and everything moved away. Amenia, the center of town, used to have a grocery store, but then they moved the grocery store up out of town. And the center of town has deteriorated over. It's a little bit better now than it was, but for 20 years it was a ghost town. So I just question the rationale of focusing in two directions at the same time. At the same time, you're spending a fortune of capital money to develop the ability for the boulevard to blossom.
Thank you. Who else? Ed? Yep.
My name is Ed Downey, and I wanted to just add on to some of the comments that have been made already, really to expand on them, but as I understand this proposal, I think it is a serious mistake in a variety of ways. Some of those have already been touched upon, but when we first got involved in comprehensive planning, which was in the early 1970s, there was a conscious decision made that the town and village would do their comprehensive plans together. And unless there's been a change in recent years, the town of Northeast and the village of Millerton are the town of Northeast is the only town in Dutchess County that has an incorporated village in it that does its comprehensive planning jointly. And it's admired for doing that, because it's a reflection of the fact that everybody sees that they're in this together. But when you're in a community that's this size, that's a positive thing. And there are some ways that that's manifested itself over the years, but I don't want to run over my 5-minute time limit, so I'll talk about that later. I think there's a serious question about whether it's consistent with the town comprehensive plan. And that is not in the interest of the property owners. Because if you own a piece of property and there's a question about whether the zoning that was enacted to allow that is inconsistent with the plan, you could have a problem, and developers don't want to have problems when they have a piece of property they want to develop. So it is not doing the property owners a favor to do this. The third thing is that the property itself, where this district is constrained. It's a long, narrow strip. The entire east side of it, according to the zoning map, is land conservation. So you have a narrow strip of land to develop, and you have it right next to a land conservation area, which also means that it's more difficult to develop than normal. So there are a variety of reasons why I think this would be a serious mistake to do this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kish.
Bill Kish. So everybody pretty much has said what I have said before and agree with completely, that it's really not a good idea to add the full range of uses to the Irondale Business District. Per the comprehensive plan, you know, as Ed said, as Dale said, our goal was to continue the village look, feel, pedestrian friendliness types of businesses through the Boulevard District. And we worked really hard for that, with the recognition that the only way it was going to work was if the sewage system happened. Unfortunately, our decision to do that is recognized by what happened today, that we're going to actually have a sewer. That doesn't, just because we have a sewer doesn't mean that people are going to build things there. They can make a choice. They can pick a piece of property that may cost less, that they think may attract more business because it's on a major highway. But that is the sort of thing that causes what is probably been the single worst planning and zoning nightmare of the past 30 years, this thing called sprawl. When you start allowing and encouraging uses outside the core business district, it hollows out the business district and business moves outward, and it doesn't benefit anybody, because then you have a village center, a city center, which has fallen into disuse. It's in bad financial straits, and that just makes the whole community fall down. So really, really important to look at this not as just something which is a simple tweak to allow more business opportunities. Yes, it says in the comprehensive plan, we want to encourage lots of business, and we do, but we want to encourage it in a planned manner that meets the goals of the comprehensive plan. And finally, what I'll say about the comprehensive plan, which Ed alluded to, is if you read the New York State law that talks about how zoning comes about and what undergirds the zoning, it is the comprehensive plan. You cannot adopt something which is in contravention of the comprehensive plan. So if you're going to vote to include these amendments, then you really have to look carefully and look at all the pieces of the comprehensive plan, including the rural look and feel value of our Route 22 corridor and the importance of continuing the village into the Boulevard District. And finally, to answer the question that came up, where else do you build businesses? It's that thing that I mentioned before, the Boulevard District.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to say, I missed the last meeting you had, when you were talking about the boulevard. And it was very encouraging to hear some of the things you were talking about. I saw that video just yesterday. And it was very encouraging, opening up to some more ideas up there.
Thank you.
Hope that continues.
Okay, unless there's anybody else who would like to speak. Mr. Downey, we've got an additional 30 seconds.
I just wanted to say, I think that the relationship between the town and the village is critical. I think this common comprehensive plan has really worked over a long period of time. But there are things that have happened that have benefited the town that I think happened in part because of this post-working relationship. I'll talk about the creation of the water district. We've heard it tonight, the creation of the sewer district. The village didn't have to do those things as a joint enterprise. Last point is 1/3 of the population that the town board serves, village residents.
We're going to continue the public hearing. I don't know, Warren, what the right word is to not end the public hearing, but to obey it, to recess it, to continue it on April 9th.
Right. We would just
Which
continue the
I'm
public
looking
hearing.
for a word.
Continue the public hearing that night.
I would like
With
to
the
ask,
intent that
I
it
would-
be closed.
I would like to
Can I
ask,
why we would continue the public hearing until the ninth? What is the thought behind that? I thought
because,
we were moving on.
well, I'm,
How many more public hearings are we going to have?
because if we take any further actions, which I would like to see tonight, I think people need to be able to provide public comment on that.
I disagree. I would like to close public hearings today.
Okay,
So
I
we
mean,
were to
we're
make,
never gonna move forward if this, and then if we make changes on the ninth, then we're going to have another public hearing. in
no, that's
May.
why I would like to keep the public hearing open so that we can do that.
So what is the process, and may I ask Warren, what the process is officially, like, if we were to close the public hearing and then meet as a board to discuss whether we update certain parts to consider all the public comments and our own digestion of them, could we then issue another red line or to the website, or no? Edie shaking her head?
No,
And then
I-
have a closed public hearing set already?
I think we're ready to come to the end of this process. I think the only issue remaining is what you're gonna do about the Irondale district. isn't it?
And the boulevard.
Yeah, and I would like to entertain some motions to address those tonight. I do want then for there to be an opportunity for anybody who wishes to make public comment on those afterwards at the hearing, which we can do on the 9th, and then close it, approve the EAF and give final approval to the zoning.
But the way, we're at a point now where we would have to change what we proposed to go back to the original Irondale proposal.
If we
So
chose
I
to,
think you have to make that decision tonight.
yeah,
But can you close can you close a public hearing?
Yeah,
Or
and,
to
at some
Chris's
point you have to close the public
But
hearing.
if we make those changes, right, doesn't the public still have the opportunity to make comment on that?
Well, you have to decide what you want to do. If you're gonna, I don't know what decision you're gonna make on the Irondale district. Why don't you make that decision and then we
That's
can
why
decide
I
how
would
to
like
proceed.
to lead, I mean, we have ended the public hearing for tonight.
Mhm.
And can we just leave it at that? It is still, can be continued.
If you wanna have, leave the public hearing open for people to make written comments, you can do that, or you can leave it open till the next meeting, but I think you have to first decide how are you gonna deal
Yeah.
with these two issues.
Well, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
But in any event, the public comment for now, for tonight is in advance. We have, or is paused. We have received, since our last meeting, we have received written comments from the Village of Millerton, from Rob Cooper, and from Dutchess County Planning Department. And based on those, I would like us to take up again the issue which we dealt with the last time. And I would entertain a motion to revert to the allowed uses in the Irondale district presented by the ZRC. And I would ask for a motion to remove the uses added to the Irondale district at the January 19th, 2026 special board meeting that are reflected in the current red line version of the draft code dated January 24th, 2026. We'll have a chance to talk about this. We're not,
I'll make that motion.
okay.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I respect everyone's input, and I've read the comprehensive, I was part of the roundtables of the comprehensive plan. I've read it many times. I've been involved in the 4 years or more on the zoning. So I totally respect this whole thing. I've lived in many places in my life, and you know, I think through this process of listening to people too, I've also received many calls regarding residents and business owners' point of view, in respect to also respecting the zoning review process. In Irondale, we're talking about 5 properties, literally, that are commercial. There are 2 that are residential that probably should have never been in HB3. But that will come up at a separate point. The thing is, I seriously, you know, the comprehensive plan also talks about using, the town should consider a more transect-based land use system that uses a transition from rural, the town, into the village. To me, the north side of 22 exemplifies that kind of idea, with starting actually in the village of Four Brothers Pizza, and then going to Agway, and then going into the town of Northeast, Irondale District, Napa. I don't find those 5 properties a threat to the village. I think it complements it. As for the worry of drive-by, I've gotten many calls from people that, and understanding the boulevard's going to be expanded. You know, they drive away. You know, we have 2,000 people, and I get 1/3 are made up of village residents. At the same time, everyone in the town drives, even to the village, to walk around. And I just don't find the 5 properties to allow a bakery or a sandwich shop a threat to the village. And but I've gotten a lot of, this is not my own personal point of view. I've really gotten so many calls and to discuss it. So I'm just bringing that other side to the table. And the comprehensive plan also says to expand uses in HB3. So that's where my basis is. But at the same time, I'm not in argument of the statements being made tonight by everyone. So That's just what I wanted to add.
So I think we've heard a lot of the comments and received a lot of written comments, and the majority of those are not in favor of what we talked about last week, so I would be interested in moving forward with the motion as it stands.
Liz?
I agree with Meg. I think we're comparing apples and oranges. I think folks who may be looking for an alternative to Main Street restaurants or other food establishments might find something in the Irondale district that suits their budget, or suits their family needs. I don't think someone intending to go to an establishment in the Irondale district would alternatively go to Main Street. They will go somewhere else, and they do. It's very difficult to find affordable lunches for the average working person. That's just the reality. I don't see that being a competition to the village, frankly. It's the way I shop, it's the way I know others shop. To me, it's an obvious, it's a binary. To have the ability to even drive through, if you are driving north or south on 22 and you're looking for a cup of coffee and a muffin, you are not going to be diverted to Main Street or the Boulevard district. You're just going to keep going. And I think that's the reality. The reality in my mind, as much as others think that this is some great competition or it's going to drain Main Street establishments. I don't see it.
You know,
Councilwoman.
as you recall, last month I was on the fence. And I hear both sides of it, but I've thought about it a lot since then. And as all of you know, I've lived here my whole life. I saw it happen in Dover, saw it happen in Amenia. Everything was right in the village. Over time, they got the plazas, and what happens, businesses move out that way because it's probably a little cheaper, whatever reason. I don't want to see that happen to us. I don't want to see us put something in place that's going to have a negative impact on the village. Plus, we want to develop the boulevard. I would like to see us take another look at what we've done at the boulevard with some of the restrictions we've put in place, if we could. That's what I'm looking at.
All right, in any event, we have, I'd just say two things. One is that I think that the thought and effort that went into the letter from the village is very meaningful to me. The village is the center of our community. And I appreciate their care and concern. We will have, zoning 2.0, which will begin, and we will have the opportunity to look at things that we've already looked at and looked at them again. But I think that for now, the importance of keeping going with the boulevard, with a planned focus on the boulevard, is very important momentum to keep going. We heard tonight about the wastewater project. I just think that there's a reason that the zoning review committee made the recommendation that it did and put in a lot of time into that thought. So I think the motion, Chris, you made that motion and we had a second.
With me.
Okay. With that, I would like you to take a roll call.
Roll call? Okay. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
okay, Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Nay.
Councilwoman Cole.
Nay.
All right, that motion is passed. We also talked about Boulevard District West, and we've gotten some input on that. And I think that this is something we talked about the last time. And I would like to make a motion to add motor vehicle repair station listed under automotive and outdoor play equipment and accessory shed sales listed under retail as allowed uses in Boulevard District West with site approval.
I'll make that motion too.
Okay, you can make it or second it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I really think at a certain point too, we're getting very product category specific versus use of retail, wholesale, these things. And I mean, I'm glad to hear the motion to allow it. I think also we should continue to talk about ideas surrounding like temporary alternative business uses of land that is not being used at the moment. Just like a person has to get a temporary permit to be a food truck. I think we could expand this also to like pop-up shops and also ideas like what we have currently with the accessory shed sales. The comprehensive plan does say in it that we should allow temporary business use such as short-term movable retail spaces to give entrepreneurs a chance to test the market and make them aware of the opportunity to utilize vacant and underutilized commercial space to create more activity. And then they list about pop-up spaces. So I think this is a first step to allow this type of thing. I mean, I think it's getting way too category specific. I mean, to me, it is general merchandise retail versus getting down to saying trampolines and things like that in the description. So I would also, after this, really like to work on outside of zoning, like considering really developing very quickly off of the current permit process for food trucks for temporary alternative business uses, and then have maybe check boxes for 6 months, 12 months, and be at the discretion of the board or those things. So, because we do have a lot of, I mean, we're talking, yes, the store is supposed to be there by 2028. We have eyesore on the boulevard. Maybe there's other really creative uses or pop-up shops or in empty stores that aren't being used at this moment that they could put in a store that we would all enjoy. And pop-up stores are not unusual and it's kept businesses going and villages going and towns and cities going when retail businesses have failed or just haven't been developed. So I'd like to suggest that too to the board.
I mean, it might be a great opportunity for new entrepreneurs or business people to kind of test the waters before going into a more permanent brick and mortar setting. So yeah, I would agree with discussion about that.
Well, the great thing is we've got zoning 2.0 coming up, and for anybody who thinks we're.
But I do
Don't
think
have
we could
anything.
do this in between to have a permit outside of zoning,
Yeah.
you know.
All right, anyway,
And
we've got
I
to,
wonder Warren's opinion too.
I mean, if you're talking about food trucks or temporary pop-up uses, that's not what you I mean, it would be part of the zoning, we'd have to have some regulation of that. It's, I'm personally a big fan of pop-up restaurants and businesses, but food trucks,
We have food trucks in our zone.
yeah, are fine. I think this is something that we possibly, we could do this after we pass this legislation and work on that and we don't have to wait till we complete the 2.0. These are things that, when you pass a comprehensive zoning change like this, you're gonna find that mistakes have been made, we've left out some things, this doesn't work. So you're gonna be coming back with amendments even before you do the phase two. At some point, we have to adopt what we've worked on and then move on. So my feeling is that at this point, we should revert back to what we voted on, and then set some priorities of issues that we want to work on, maybe outside the more comprehensive second phase of this. It's not difficult to amend the zoning code to add to a section on either pop-up businesses or food trucks or temporary uses. We could do that, but we don't have to hold up this, because I think we're at a point where we have to kind of finish with this and then move on to our next phase.
So with that, there's a motion on the table.
Can I just ask more than one question?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So if we vote on this next item here and come to a decision, then are you recommending we could close the public hearing and revisit those other?
If we're reverting back to what we had before, I think we should allow the opportunity for public comment at the next meeting, and then close the public hearing at the next meeting.
In any event,
I'm sorry, are we voting on the?
the second one, which is having to do with Boulevard West, BD West, it's a second motion.
Are we voting on accept the accessory sheds?
No,
in the program?
yes,
Yes.
that's what that was what I read.
And making it by SP, right? Planning board site approval? The same as,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
same as auto body. Where was the auto? Just thought to be consistent, right? Motor vehicle sales and, no, repair shop. It would be SP. Just like it is right now in Boulevard East, and so it's on PDF, it's on PDF 162, motor vehicle repair, you're bringing up, right?
Yeah.
Or are you saying gas station with convenience? They have 4 categories. Gas station, motor vehicle body shop, motor vehicle repair shop.
Motor vehicle repair shop is what the one that
So
I listed.
by planning board site approval is the requirement. Did you find it, you guys?
Yeah.
So PDF page 162. And then on the, here, you guys.
So that's special use.
So under 1NR,
Those are special use permits.
special, sorry, on the use tables in the back, all the way to the back. Sorry, I don't think they have actually a real page.
No.
It's all the way to the back, it's 1NR thing. So if you go all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Chris, your motion was to allow for, what you just said, so under
Add motor
automotive,
vehicle repair shop
under special
and
SP,
and outdoor play equipment and accessory shed sales
which
listed
is,
under retail
which is.
as
4
allowed
pages
uses in
down.
Boulevard District West with site plan approval.
4 pages, yeah. Actually, 5 pages down.
Yeah, we found it.
We found-
Okay.
Just,
So just so I'm clear, at the next meeting,
So-
we're gonna have these
There.
changes revised, and we'll have the law. in-
Well, we haven't made the second one yet because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just discuss.
following closely, we haven't actually taken a vote on it.
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure it's a SP versus, anyway.
All right. With that, roll call on this one as well.
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler. Councilwoman Cole.
All right. So,
So now we'll incorporate these changes into the version,
yes,
the final version. We will complete a vote on the seeker review, which we've gone through. And you will make a determination as to a positive deck or a negative deck. And we will pass hopefully a resolution adopting these zoning changes and adopting the new zoning. We have to adopt the new zoning map too, so I'll have a resolution for that.
yeah.
Is there a reason
Yes.
we can't move to approve the seeker if we're all ready to?
No, there's no reason.
So, can I make a
If Warren,
motion?
if, I just want to know that we've reviewed it with you, I think on 2 occasions. I would be delighted if we could approve the seeker at this point.
Oh, yeah, I don't, we've gone through part 1, we've gone through
Right.
part 2. We have a part 3 analysis that we've prepared with the help of our consultant. We reviewed that all, so the decision that you would have to make is, does this enactment of this local law require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement? Or does it not require preparation of a draft environmental impact statement?
And if we decide that it does not, do we need?
One is a positive, we call it a positive deck.
Right,
And the positive deck is actually a requirement that you prepare a DEIS.
right.
A negative deck would be that the declaration would be that a DEIS
Yeah.
is not required, which is,
And
would be my recommendation.
Right. And if we want to do that, do we require a written resolution doing that?
Yes,
Okay.
we have
That's
that
the-
prepared.
That's the
for
problem.
next
We don't
week.
have
Yeah,
that
So we
prepared.
So we'll have that.
Oh, but
Okay.
so we could approve it right now.
I think it's clear
We're
where
gonna
the
approve it,
board is.
but we don't
voting.
have it in front of us and we don't have that.
Okay.
Okay, that's the issue.
But if the board is of a mind to issue a negative deck, then I'll have that ready for you. We'll have that ready for you for the next meeting.
All right.
You don't want us to vote on it now?
Yeah, you can vote on it now,
You said we can vote on it,
subject to the written negative deck.
so that he can move forward to the next thing, right?
Yeah, so that we could get this done at the April 9th meeting.
Okay, Warren, do you want to tell me what it is? You want to
Okay, so
spell
we're
it out,
voting
what
at
it
this
is?
point.
Because you'll write it down.
The resolution would be a resolution to declare a negative declaration for the local law amending our current zoning law, phase 1, with the finding that there are no significant environmental impacts that have been identified as a result of our environmental review, which require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. And that has to be filed with the state. We'll take care of that.
We can,
Make a
the
motion to approve
that?
Yeah.
So we're,
Yeah,
Approve a negative.
the declaration, we're not approving the resolution.
People have a hard time
So
understanding.
I just wanted to make sure
The import of a
that that's not
negative.
what
So he can
Yes,
prepare the
yes.
resolution for us to vote at the
We
next
have
one.
it, we have everything ready to go.
all right. All right,
Motion to
Meg
approve
made
the
that.
negative.
I make a motion to move to approve a negative declaration as Warren's statement
What
of a negative
what he
declaration.
said.
What he said.
I second.
and you have seconded. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. When we come back on April 9th, you'll probably have the written thing that we can then
Good job. Nice
give a
job.
seal
Thank
to. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Did we close the public hearing?
No,
No, pause.
no.
Did we vote on that?
What?
Did we have to
Well,
vote on it?
we agreed that we were pausing the public hearing. Do we need to vote that we are pausing the public hearing? I think we.
Are you closing the public hearing?
No,
No, we'll continue, just,
yeah,
just make a motion to continue the public hearing,
we-
the April 9th.
we did that, but,
No, nobody made a
No, we didn't make a
motion.
motion though.
all
I'll
right,
make the motion to continue the public hearing at our April 9th meeting.
right.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We're getting punch out.
Moving on, we've got a lot more to go, but the next item, which is coming up, is has to do with long-term financing of the construction costs of the highway garage. As the board knows, those costs we have issued 2 bans, which are outstanding for those costs. And one of those bans, which is the older of the 2, cannot be rolled over after, I think it is September. Anyway, we have been working with the company Fiscal Advisors, who have guided us through this process. And the process is of getting to a long-term bond. And we've worked with them, we've worked with our bond counsel, Douglas Goodfriend in New York City. And as part of that process, one of the things that we have done is we have gone out to get a bond rating. And this town has never had a bond rating before because it has never borrowed long-term financing at this level before. I am very happy to tell you all, as the board knows, that we got notified by S&P, which issues those things, that they have assigned the town of Northeast an A+ bond rating. This will allow us now to issue a bond, a long-term bond for these 2 bans so that they don't get rolled over any further. And what we need to do is to actually address one relatively small detail compared with that, which is the actual costs of issuing the bond. Between the costs to the advisors and to the bond counsel and to S&P, the costs of issuing this long-term bond are about $50,000. And while we could conceivably see if we can find funds in our budget to pay for this, I think the more prudent way to approach it is to pass a bond resolution for this 50,000, which, and this is where you get into really deep, tall grass here, can be put on top of the existing bond proposal and therefore paid as part of the bond. If we have that opportunity to do it, and what Warren has suggested, this is after consultation with our bond counsel today, is that we pass the bond resolution and hold and hang on to it, not
Keep
literally
in
put
your
it,
pocket.
well, maybe not literally, but in other words, to see exactly where we are and whether we need it, if we need it, if we don't feel that this is something that can be paid out of town funds, we can put it onto the bond. But it is important that we have it. And that's the reason for asking for this bond resolution to be passed.
Right.
You've talked to Douglas a couple of times on this.
I did. And we had some questions about when we had to publish our estoppel notice, and I've been informed, and I agree that the doesn't have to be published on Monday. We can pass this resolution and then publish the estoppel notice next week you've been provided with a copy of the estoppel notice. And has to be published for 3 days. If there's no objection that's filed to the bonding, then we can go ahead and finance this. Or we don't have to, we're not bound to go forward with the bonding if we have this in the event that we don't find sufficient funds from available funds to pay those costs.
So this, we are moving towards getting this bond done. I think it will be done in April. And that is going to be a great step forward to get rid of these bans and have long-term financing. It gives us some predictability on this. So I would entertain any questions anybody has. But otherwise, I would ask for a motion to approve the bond resolution. Yeah, I heard you. I was just catching my breath. Any other comment?
We need,
Otherwise, I would ask
Oh,
for.
you have to read it? It's like-
It's, no, it's many pages.
I know.
But we need a roll call.
Yes, we should definitely like a roll call, please.
Okay. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
yeah, this is great.
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Aye.
and Councilwoman Cole.
Okay. That is approved. Okay. We have received reports on agreed upon procedures for the town clerk, the town tax collector, and the justice court, which have been prepared by our accountant, Rob Patterson, and delivered to those departments. Once accepted by the town board, our accountant will send the representation letters to those 3 units. And when accepted and signed, he will deliver the final reports. So all we're doing today is just noting that we have received these draft agreed upon procedures reports.
Right.
And I would ask for a motion to acknowledge that we have received these reports.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is this is one of the items that we added. This is a MOU with the village. We have an MOU with the village to permit the village to, during their time of emergency, to use the town's old highway garage on South Center Street. The state of emergency continues to exist. The village has indicated to us that they would like to renew that lease to the same terms as they did for the first year. And I think that makes good sense and that we should do that. I've distributed the resolution to the board, authorizing the town supervisor to execute a 1-year extension of a memorandum of an understanding with the village of Millerton's use of the town of Northeast Old Highway Garage during the period of emergency by the village of Millerton.
So question, the new one put before us, new, I'm all for it. I just want to bring up a difference. Last year said $500 a month. This does not, are we waiving that?
Saying on the same terms as the first year.
Same terms?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
Roll call.
roll call.
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cole.
Okay, the next item concerns the town's comprehensive insurance coverage from NYMER. And I reached out to the board. The renewal date of this was actually on the 16th of March. The 15th, excuse me, the 15th of March, and the board indicated that it would like to renew this coverage. And so we're now passing a formal motion to approve the renewal of the contract for the town's comprehensive insurance coverage from NYMER commencing March 15th, 2026, and our pollution liability coverage starting May 16, 2026. I would entertain a motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item, I mentioned that the Conservation Advisory Committee had had a request to us. Rich Stalzer, the chair, has reached out to me, and his term on the CAC is expiring, as is the term of Kathy Chow. He has asked if the board would reappoint them both to the CAC. And he has also asked if Jim Cole could be appointed to the CAC, and I approve of that and would be happy to entertain a motion to approve the reappointment of Rich Stalzer and Kathy Chow and the appointment of Jim Cole to the CAC.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Do I need to recuse myself?
I think
Yeah.
it probably is a good idea. So you abstain?
That's fine, I'm upset.
All right. Okay. We are getting there. Mhm. And we're going to come back to, when we get through these financials. I know that Councilwoman Cole has also asked for a period of board discussion, and I'm happy to have that. If there's something that needs to come up, we'll do that as soon as we get through these financials. I have a budget adjustment for a fund, an expense increase of $1,663 less, an expense decrease of $1,663 for net of zero. And in DB fund, an expense increase of $155,978 less a revenue increase of $155,978 for a net of zero. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the budget adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have a special abstract dated February 24th, 2026, totaling 1 million, no, excuse me. Backing up. Totaling, it's getting late. Totaling $1,764.26, broken down as follows. A fund, $1,748.26. Highway DB, $16. I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the special abstract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What's the date?
20.
March.
Yes. I have a special abstract dated March 3rd, 2026, totaling $700, broken down as follows. A fund, $700. I'd like to ask a motion to accept the special abstract.
So moved.
Second,
Yeah, all in favor?
I,
Moving right along here. I have an abstract dated March 20th, 2026, totaling $558,576.51, broken down as follows. A fund, $332,071.54. B fund, $102,371.56. DB fund, $121,589.90. TNA two escrow, $2,253.74. Payroll TNA, $289.77. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the abstract.
so moved.
Second.
Mhm. All in favor?
I,
All right. We had a lot of bills this month. And we got one more. Okay, the voucher committee for April will be Lana Morrison and Rochelle Greco Cole. We have opportunity for public comment. We've had public comment, but we could have more. All right. Hearing none. Approval of minutes. You received copies of minutes from February 12th, 26,
24.
I mean, February 12th and February 24th,
Mhm.
both, right, and March 3rd. And that may be different from the original agenda that I was sent out, but anyway, those three sets of minutes have been sent out. And if anyone has any comments or corrections on them, I would entertain them, or I would entertain a motion to approve them.
I have to abstain on I was absent on the 24th, so I can't vote on that one. I
Okay,
mean, can I vote? I don't know, but I've.
why don't we take them one at a time?
yeah.
Let's do the minutes of 2/12/26. A motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the minutes of 2/24/26. Motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then Meg, you wanted to abstain from
Because I wasn't
those.
there, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
And the minutes of March 3rd, 26. A motion to accept.
So moved.
A second.
So,
All in favor?
aye.
All right, thank you very much. Warren, I don't think we need meeting with council
I don't
tonight.
think so. I have a couple of minor things I'll send you an email on tomorrow,
Okay,
or
All right.
not tomorrow. Monday.
all right, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Friday.
Friday.
Yep, I'm coming back to that. We're not done. We're just excusing Warren. Rochelle, you had asked for an opportunity for the board to have just a general discussion.
So some of us were talking about potentially having 2 meetings a month during this extremely busy time. whether one is a workshop and the other is a regular meeting. I'm not sure how that would work. It just seems to me that it's like a fire hose of decision-making and information, and thought we'd entertain the idea of meeting twice a month. It could even be for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
The rest of the year or whatever we decide.
Yeah, I agree with that. I brought that up
You did last year.
last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I think along those lines, if we did a workshop meeting, you know, I'm wondering if we can move towards a consent agenda for our business meeting, since we've got a lot of things that could probably be voted on. I guess it's a question for you, Warren. Could we move towards using and adopting a consent agenda for our business meeting as opposed to going through the everyday items?
Yeah, I have talked to some other towns about that. They have to, their board still has to vote on what goes into the consent agenda. So there's,
Right, but if
Yeah.
we're meeting, if we're doing a workshop
Right.
meeting, you know, I'm sure that we can get a lot of that general business and discussion.
I mean,
about that.
there's really, no substantive difference between a workshop meeting and a regular meeting.
Right,
Anything you can do at a regular meeting, you can normally do at a workshop meeting. And you do have a lot going on. So I may not be able to attend every meeting, but if you could cooperate with me, maybe I could attend one of the meetings by Zoom or something like that. It'd probably take a little pressure off you to have a couple of meetings, and then you can cancel meetings if you don't need it.
Right. I mean, for me personally, it's the reason I brought it up again, because you brought it up last year, is also it's much easier for me to plan my schedule for business and personal if I know I have that meeting versus like, can you just meet next Tuesday? And I just really would love, not that I always want more meetings in life, but it's just much better personally for me also to be able to do this. So I don't know what day or time, but that's predicated, I think, also on people's
Right,
constraints.
and it seems that a lot of times decisions have to be made before we can get to our next monthly meeting, and this, I think, would take the pressure off.
Yeah.
It could be a short meeting, but if there's something, if there's a placeholder in our calendars, just would seem to facilitate less stress.
well, if we were gonna do that, what you were suggesting is trying to find a regular time for that, right? Or
Yes,
is it,
and
or
then
you
we
just
could-
wanna like each month pick a different date?
Well,
No,
That's, I think,
that's
not
not a
what
good
Meg
idea.
is
Yeah.
looking for.
No, Different dates aren't
I
good.
think it's,
Yeah.
I think
I think
it's,
something like
yeah.
the fourth.
Yeah.
I think you should stick with our Thursdays, because we all, I mean, we've got lives too. We've got other things going on different nights.
right.
We know Thursdays we have meetings, so if you had to do it, maybe do it the second and fourth Thursday, I don't know.
And maybe it doesn't have to be at 7:00.
Right,
Right, it's based on
You can do,
your,
you know,
your work
a lot of
schedule,
boards are
right?
switching to 6 o'clock. 5 would be a little early, I think, but 6, you could do that.
I think, Chris, you talked about trying to do it on the Monday before the meeting.
That's something I had thrown out there, because then the discussion's fresh if we're actually going to make decisions.
Is
on the third.
Is that a lot for Tilly though?
2 in 1 week, you're saying?
It was just an
two in
idea.
1 month, it's right.
We've been.
Or maybe go
Well,
Monday,
I think
Monday,
I think
Monday
it's
for the
good to
new
get
meeting.
Tilly's
and
input
Doesn't have to
too.
be the first, at the same week, just a different day than Thursday.
I just thought if we had a critical decision to make and it can't wait until a regular meeting, at least we have regularly spaced. You know, it could probably wait 2 weeks, if not 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really so much for a Monday of the same week. I'm really more for like whether it was a Thursday or Monday or whatever, I'm good with that. Because I do think the 2
Little
week
space.
spacing it out a little bit, because then we can also think about things that come up you know, and review materials or whatever we want to do. I mean,
The,
Mondays are the village meetings, right? And then, I don't know what other,
yeah,
Tilly, your obligations, if you have certain days you're not
Tuesdays.
available.
Tuesdays, but we have court here Tuesdays anyway.
yeah, Tuesdays are pretty much
Are not
out because of
good.
court.
Mhm.
The,
I don't know what they,
the,
zoning,
is it, I think the second,
you're the third,
So we did the fourth Thursday, but that's usually a free night for this room.
so that would be one or 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Depending on.
I
the
will
month.
just say that, you know, as I look at the schedule, and
Yeah.
particularly, you know, I'm just talking about my own schedule.
Yeah,
The very end of the month is one time when I usually can count on if I need to go travel or do something
okay,
like
so
that.
start maybe. doing
Because
the
we
beginning.
tend to have fewer meetings,
Gotcha,
right, that
yeah.
last, but
Okay, so what, are you, is the ZR, I'm sorry, CBA like the first Thursday?
The third.
The third.
So,
And we're the second for our
We're the
board
second.
meeting.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it would either be the first or the third, taking into consideration of not doing the last week.
Could we do the
Unless we do a
third-
Monday.
Could we do the third Monday?
Monday's gonna be tough for me. I have my Pleasant Valley on Monday.
And CAC meets here the third
When,
Monday.
what about a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
I could do the first Wednesday of the month, or we do this, or
So we're doing
the third.
second Thursday.
This is hard
Can't do
to,
the
it's
third.
hard to,
I can't do the third Wednesday, but first.
first Wednesdays?
Then it would just be like a week apart.
Can we? So we're all in agreement that
Tattoo.
to, and then maybe take a little time to figure out schedules and come back with a
Yeah, I was,
recommendation.
could we do like one of those Google search, you know, like appointment
Doodle?
schedules?
Oh, what is it?
It's basically like a little survey, you just
usually
click.
it's for a particular day.
Yeah, well, I used to do mine to a board and saying, you know, giving certain options and the person could say yes, no, and yes, no. Because that could change by month too, like if someone was traveling, right?
And can we do it earlier than 7? I don't know what anyone else is.
Depends
Do you
on
have
what
a-
day we land on.
We have
Say it like just an hour for the workshop.
Yeah, exactly.
5 to 6. Is that a problem? You know,
It depends
Depending
what
on
day.
what
right?
day, yeah.
'Cause he
'Cause
physically
I'm
is
a
not.
hybrid schedule, so.
is there a day that they're in local?
Friday.
And you don't want to spend it all Friday nights.
I mean, it's only
Just
March
Friday.
Madness.
Oh,
No. So yeah, I think Meg, that's a good idea, send out
Like
a
one of
Google
those
survey and.
Yeah, I don't know if Outlook has one of those, but anyway. Well, is that okay, Chris? We
Sure.
just send out
Let's
one
see
of
what we
those?
can-
Okay.
And how far in advance, Tilly, do you need? notice to
Oh,
post?
yeah, right, for the town.
Oh, to post,
To-
yeah.
But once we pick a day, assuming that it's gonna be the same day each month, then you know it and it gets
Right,
posted.
that's why
At
the
ahead of
same
time.
schedule is very important, right?
So not, we're not deciding this monthly, we're not shifting.
No, I think the whole
No.
goal is,
Oh,
what you were saying
okay.
is it'd be more helpful if it's a predictable.
Yeah, I believe, I don't know, how do you feel?
Oh, yeah, because, yeah, I like to do stuff.
Well, me too, I mean, I'm not like,
Okay.
no, I do too, I don't think we have to quantify that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, does this sound like a,
I
is this
think
a
it's,
burden? Or
it's
would
not,
this
for me, it
relieve-
relieves me from this night of feeling like there's just a million things to get
And it's
through.
not, I don't think it's going to get better.
Well, I will say that tonight was a special night. A lot of things did come together,
At the,
which have time pressure on them.
yeah,
Yeah, but we
And-
also are working on the town hall, we have some other things like we've never finished,
Right.
Yep.
that are really hanging that we never did because we didn't have time to revisit, you know.
Yeah.
maybe we could use a workshop to look at grant opportunities.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Some
Totally.
committee work.
yeah, that's good.
We could do some committee workshop.
All right, well, why don't we circulate something and see whether we can
All right.
come up with a,
Drive, be safe.
Is it still raining out?
Who knows?
who knows?
I don't think it's ice though.
Haven't been out for hours.
Hopefully not ice,
Yeah.
My phone says it's still running.
It's still raining.
Your phone does.
So,
Go out and report back to us.
I think we're
gonna
gonna
make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I would like to ask for